Welcome to Bayer, Nigel plant. Bayer is a global life science company with a strong presence all over the globe. Guided by our purpose, science for a better life, we contribute to a world in which diseases are not only treated, but effectively prevented or cured. In which people can take care of their own health more effectively, and in which enough agriculture products are produced for all, while conserving our planet's natural resources. A world in which business growth and sustainability go hand in hand. The Bayer vision is health for all, hunger for none. Our site vision, or Bayer Nigel vision, is world-class product supply for Africa. Bayer has life values of leadership, integrity, flexibility, and efficiency. Safety, health, and environmental protection is the company's highest priority. Safety is the most important aspect of our business. We ask that all employees, contractors, and visitors please comply with our site rules and regulations that will be featured in this video. Remember that everyone is responsible and accountable for their own safety at Bayer. We strive to achieve and maintain zero harm by providing all with a safe and healthy working environment. Environmental protection is also of paramount importance for Bayer. The QHSE policy is displayed throughout the site in different locations and is available on request. This site is ISO 9001, Quality Management System, ISO 14001, Environmental Management System, and ISO 45001, Occupation Health and Safety Assessment Series, certified. Access is controlled for all those that enter the site, for safety and security reasons. Visitors will be required to fill in an entry permit, which should be signed by the person being visited. No liquor, firearms, knives or cameras are allowed on site. Taking pictures is strictly prohibited. All employees, both permanent or non-permanent, as well as contractors, must all undergo the induction program prior to commencing work. No children are allowed on site, unless prior arrangement has been made with management. Hazards posing risks on site. Bayer Nigel has a large parking area designated for employees and visitors. Vehicle, motorist and pedestrian safety is a key factor at Bayer Nigel. The speed limit on site is 20 km per hour. All motorists are required to be in possession of a valid driver's license, relevant to the class of vehicle being driven, and must adhere to all site road safety rules. Seat belts must be worn when a vehicle is in motion. Handheld mobile phones must only be used when the vehicle is stationary and in a safe location, or if attached to a hands-free kit. Passengers should not ride in or on vehicles that have not been designed to carry passengers. Pedestrians should be aware of moving vehicles and ensure they remain visible to motorists, and that they follow the designated pedestrian routes where applicable. To ensure your safety and to avoid injury or death, kindly follow our 3-point contact rule at all times when ascending or descending a flight of stairs. Report any damaged stairs or spillages on the staircase. Personnel should not smoke in a non-designated area, as this can pose a health hazard and might cause a serious fire hazard on site. Should you wish to smoke, use the designated areas on site. All cigarette butts, matches, and packs must be disposed of in the supplied bins to limit fire hazards. Ergonomics. In order to prevent injury, remember these important control measures. Do a risk assessment of the task by assessing the area, route and load. Plan the lift before moving the object. Where possible, reduce the distance to carry the load by storing items within easy reach. When lifting the load, bend your knees, keep your back vertical, and hold the load as close as possible to your body. When lifting, lowering, carrying, pushing or pulling items, do not attempt to move more than you can comfortably manage. And remember to ask someone to help you. Chemical hazards. We have different types of hazardous chemical substances, such as very toxic or poisonous. Toxic, such as carcinogenic, mutagenic, and teratogenic. Flammable. Corrosive. Harmful. And irritant. Safety data sheets, or SDSs, should be consulted when in doubt about the hazardous nature of any substance. SDSs are available from supervisors. Do not handle chemicals that you are not trained to handle, and always wear required PPE. Driven machinery is a hazard, on site. Forklifts are constantly moving in and out of working areas. Pedestrians must always use the door, and not the roller door. Forklift drivers are required to hoot prior to entering a working area. Pedestrians must use the demarcated walkways throughout the site when moving around. Another hazard is stationary machinery with rotating parts. Beware of nip points. Do not wear loose items of clothing. Please report damaged machine guards or removed machine guards. Tampering with safety interlocking systems is not allowed, unless it's conducted according to the lockout procedure and authorized by the site engineer. Further hazards are unsafe tools, homemade tools, or defective tools. No unsafe or defective tools should be used. Report defective tools to your supervisor or SHEQ representative. For your own safety, do not use tools that you are not trained to use. Always cut away from yourself, and not towards yourself. Further hazards are unsafe behaviors. Human factors. 1. Taking shortcuts, or not following procedures or rushing to finish a job, regardless of safety. 2. Horseplay, or driving machinery without a license, or even executing a job that one is not trained to do. 4. Hands must be washed before and after eating, and after handling chemicals. There might be residue of chemicals left behind when taking your gloves off. Flammable materials. Some substances on site are flammable and can ignite spontaneously, should there be an ignition source. A high standard of housekeeping is essential to prevent this buildup of combustible materials. Electrostatic charges are risk ignition sources, which can cause serious fires and explosions. Earthing is of paramount importance to disperse electrostatic charges. Cell phones are not allowed in zoned areas, for example liquids plant formulation and filling areas. The following type of work requires a permit to be issued before any work can be done. A permit is required for any non-routine hazardous work to be done on site. No permit, no work. Permits are required for the following: working at heights above 1.5 meters, vessel entry or entering confined space, hot work, welding and grinding, anything with an ignition source, excavation work, line break, opening of lines or pipes, working on highly contaminated equipment. The employer must provide personal protective equipment to all employees, according to the OHS Act, No. 85 of 1993. Personal protective equipment must be worn by employees, as required by the employer according to the OHS Act. Safety shoes, are required to be worn for manufacturing plants and warehouses. Safety goggles are to be worn when handling chemicals, whether decanting, filling or charging. It is best practice to always wear safety spectacles or goggles when entering areas where chemicals are handled and utilized. Overalls must be worn at all times when working with chemicals. Bump caps are required to be worn if there is a risk of injury from falling objects. A respirator or mask must be worn when working with substances that are harmful to health on inhalation. Masks must always be kept in sealable containers to prolong the lifespan of cartridges and for one's health. Gloves must be worn at all times when handling chemicals and there is a risk of exposure. Safety harnesses must be worn when working at heights where there is a risk of falling. PPE must be inspected on a regular basis by SHE reps and supervisors. Defective PPE must be reported to SHE reps or supervisor with immediate effect. Contaminated PPE must be disposed of and treated as hazardous waste. According to the OHS Act, every employee, visitor, and contractor is responsible for his or her own safety. The safety rules of the site have to be complied with at all times, including procedures and PPE requirements. No intoxicating liquor or drugs may be brought onto premises, and no person under the influence of such liquor or drugs will be allowed in the workplace. Alcohol testing will be done prior to access being granted, and random alcohol tests will be done as well, when required. The employee must carry out any lawful order from the employer, and obey health and safety rules and procedures laid down by the employer. The employee must report any unsafe or unhealthy situation to the employer or SHE representative. Report all incidents to the supervisor or management before the end of that particular shift. All employees on the filling lines must follow the decontamination procedure. No overalls, PPE or contaminated clothing is permitted to be taken off-site. Employees must remove their personal clothing and wear overalls at the beginning of the shift. Certain products or raw materials are very toxic or poisonous. Therefore, it is of paramount importance that decontamination takes place. All spills and splashes, no matter how small, must be reported to the SHE department supervising staff. Do not keep wearing an overall that a chemical has splashed on. Remember, it is toxic to your health. There are trained, qualified first aiders permanently on site, and fully equipped first aid boxes are available throughout the site. The clinic is open daily, from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Emergency teams on site can be identified by different armbands and bump caps. Procedures. In the unlikely event that you will need to evacuate the building in an emergency, it is essential that you are fully aware of our emergency protocols. In case of a fire, please activate the red push buttons located throughout the plant. The fire alarm is tested every Friday at 11 a.m. for about 10 seconds. Should there be an alarm sound for more than 10 seconds, or at any point in time other than testing times, that shall be regarded as a real emergency. Everyone on site must evacuate to their assembly points. Please pay close attention to the following, and if in doubt, ask. Know your quickest escape route out of the building, using the nearest exit. Identify any alternative escape routes. Locate the nearest fire alarm in your area, and know how to activate it, if required. Know the location of your emergency assembly point, and the evacuation route you should follow to reach it. Remain with your host or Bayer Nigel employee at all times. Do not query whether an alarm indicated a real hazard or just a drill. Always follow the prescribed evacuation plan. Should you have to evacuate the work area or the building, ensure that all windows are closed and that all electrical equipment is switched off, if it is safe to do so. Stay calm, do not rush, and do not panic. Safely stop your work. Gather your personal belongings if it is safe to do so. An important reminder: take all prescription medications out with you, if at all possible and safe to do so. You may need these before you are allowed back into the building. Use the quickest escape route. Never attempt to travel through smoke-filled or other imminently hazardous areas. If you encounter smoke, close the door and use a different exit. If you are on a vehicle, shut down and exit the vehicle, where you currently are. Once outside, move away from the building, following the designated routes to the assembly point. Never assemble near exits, or stand in driveways or roadways. Emergency responders need clear access to the building. Do not return to the building until the all clear has been given. Important telephone numbers in case of emergency are shown on screen. Please obey all signage around the plant, both mandatory and prohibitory. Bayer Pty Limited is part of the CAIA Responsible Care Initiative, which ensures that our operations are carried out in an environmentally responsible manner. Responsible care is a voluntary initiative of the global chemical industry, focused on improving performance, communication, and accountability. Responsible care commits companies, through their national chemical associations, to work together continuously to improve health, safety, and environmental performance of their products and processes. It is a major contribution by the industry in achieving sustainable development and improving performance. Environmental. Waste management definitions. Waste is any substance which cannot be reduced, reused, recycled, or recovered. There are different types of waste: general waste and hazardous waste. General waste is waste that does not pose an immediate hazard or threat to health or to the environment and includes domestic waste, building and demolition waste, business waste, inert waste. Hazardous waste is any waste that has toxicological characteristics. These have a detrimental effect on our health and the environment. Examples of hazardous waste generated on site are used PPE, such as masks, gloves, filters, contaminated plastics and card boxes. Used chemical packaging materials. Wastewater and solvent used for cleaning vessels. Contaminated rags and absorbent used for cleaning chemical spillages. Contaminated sawdust or sawdust used for cleaning floors. Containers containing residue of paint. Used fluorescent tubes containing poisonous mercury. Redundant or rejected batches of product or raw materials. Filters from extraction units, used oil, used batteries, and used printing cartridges. Waste management. When hazardous waste is released into the environment, it can spread and contaminate all environmental media, such as air, water, and land, and can pose a threat to human health and the environment. It is against the law to dispose of any hazardous waste, as general waste, at the municipal bin. Hazardous waste poses a threat to health and the environment, and must be disposed of in an environmentally sound manner. On our site, we make use of an incinerator to help dispose of hazardous waste. Closure. Thank you for taking the time to watch this safety induction video. While Bayer Nigel's safety, health, environment and security procedures have covered all points to ensure that all occupants are safe, secure, and stay healthy at Bayer Nigel, it is really down to each of us, individually, to make sure that we follow these guidelines and procedures. If you are unsure of something or regard it as unsafe, stop, think, and ask someone, and only then act or proceed. Please, let us all work together to keep Bayer a safe and healthy environment to work in. Remember, to stay alert, and stay safe.